So we bought a town.
Chris is the man who grew up in the mountains of Chihuahua, Mexico, without running water, and went on to buy businesses, oil wells, and even an entire town.
We basically grew up kind of like in the 1800s. We didn't have running water. Like, our house didn't have any insulation. Our house had a tar paper roof.
It was like Nacho Libre.
It was, dude, that's our favorite movie.
What gave you permission, I guess, to go and seek this?
I was so dumb. I was so naive. And I think that was a benefit to me.
Mm-hmm.
Capitalist missionary. I want to bring it up to you to define for us.
I believe God created us all to be creators. And I think in this world, a lot of people are taking signs from society, whether it be school, parents unintentionally, our friends, and all of those signs are saying, shrink down your creative energy, shrink down the magic. And that's God saying, heck no.
It almost gets beaten out of you.
Yeah, he's like, I gave you all, like literally as much as you want. This is what I created you to do.
Talk about that opportunity a little bit more with your business and the opportunity for so many other people to kind of get into that industry.
It will be, I believe, the greatest wealth transfer in probably the past 50 years. So people selling their businesses that are kind of baby boomer generation or younger or older, right? It doesn't have to be within that box. We've mortgaged the thing. Like, if this doesn't work, we're going to be in a really bad spot. And I think that's the spot to be in as an entrepreneur, where for me, it was like,
Welcome back to the COS Business Podcast, the #1 podcast in Colorado Springs.
Today, our highlighted sponsor is none other than Planet Duct. They were actually the first episode on this show, and they've been sponsoring ever since the very beginning of the show. It's been quite amazing. Just want to give Brandon Kirk some flowers for that because he's been a big supporter of this show from the very beginning. And you can reach out to them at planetduct.com.
They're fantastic. I think 4.5 years they've been with us, if not longer, 5 years.
Yeah, the whole time.
So crazy, man. Well, today is a very special guest. He's become a quick friend of mine. We've only known each other for about 3 months or so now, but we've just connected right out of the get, and synergies started to really combine to one another. And I'm just so excited to have you on. Chris Seegers with Exceptional Business Advisors. How you doing, man?
man, I'm doing awesome. Thank you guys for having me.
Absolutely.
It's going to be a blast.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah, brother. Well, I was just on your podcast, which thank you so much for the invite for that.
Sure.
That was awesome. And what an honor to be on there. And now we get to have you on ours. So it's super exciting. You have quite the resume. Let's just start from the very beginning about where you grew up. I think it's really fascinating about your childhood and kind of how you came into entrepreneurship.
For sure, man. So 2 very different worlds. My dad's a missionary doctor, so we lived in Chihuahua, Mexico for 7 years. So kind of the most informative time of my life. We grew up in the mountains of Chihuahua, and it's actually pretty similar looking to Colorado Springs. And it was an awesome place to grow up. Mexico is an amazing country if they could get the cartel stuff kind of under control.
For sure,
We'd live
yeah.
down there for part of the year because it's an amazing place. And then the other really informative voice in my life was my grandpa, who was a very successful entrepreneur in the construction space. So kind of had a crazy upbringing where we would live part of the time in Mexico, and then we'd come to Westcliff, Colorado, where my grandparents ranched, and I'd work there every summer with my grandpa. And then eventually my parents moved to Morocco, and I thought I was super mature at 15 and was like, I'm staying here. And they were like, no way. And eventually we kind of worked out a truce, and I stayed in Westcliff, went to high school there, and went to undergrad and business school at CSU. And yeah, man, so kind of the rest is history. But I think that allows me to really just hold space for most folks because we've kind of been all over the place. And my parents moved to Morocco, and then a lot of my siblings, I'm one of 8, spent their time in Morocco. So we've almost got like 4 or 5 generations within the 8 of us. And now we all are in business together, except for 2 of us, which I think will eventually become business partners. And so, yeah, man, we're having a blast. It's been awesome.
Oh, that's insane. And then you also met your wife, right? In business school at CSU, and that's CSU Fort Collins, right?
That's right. Yeah. So we were in business school together, and we were the loudest, maybe the most obnoxious people, most competitive for sure.
That would be why I didn't know what Westcliff was. That's up there?
No. Westcliff's south of here, an hour and a half.
Oh,
Tiny
okay.
town, man. I graduated, I think, with like 47 kids.
What?
Wow, okay.
Yeah. So it was just tiny, but it was an idyllic place, man.
Yeah.
Like we had a great group of friends. Everybody got along. We all played sports and pretty much stayed out of trouble. At least the things they caught us for.
a
We didn't
small
get in
mountain
trouble.
town? Is it in the mountains?
Yep,
Okay.
exactly. So it'd be in between Canyon City and Salida, kind of
Okay,
in the middle, and then about 10 miles south of the Arkansas River.
Well, that's great.
So
Yeah.
it's beautiful, man. It looks like, I always say it's like the valley from the Hidden Valley Ranch bottle. Like that's
Okay,
exactly when you
yeah.
pull into the valley, you're just like, whoa.
yeah.
Even still going up
Mhm.
there, we went there last week, and every time I come over the ridge, I'm just like, this is incredible.
Is that where home is? Do you think?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what I would call home.
Okay.
When you're like, if you're a military kid or a missionary kid, if you travel all over the place, it's
Mhm.
kind of hard to
For sure.
have
yeah,
home.
Yeah.
So you get to choose home.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You get to kind of say like, hey, this is home. So Westcliff would be home for me. But we've been back in Springs almost 5 years now. And have our kids in some great schools here, and our businesses are based out of here. So yeah.
And well, you met your wife, and then you made a decision to move somewhere that you told her you probably would never move.
Yeah.
To kind of start your
100%.
entrepreneur journey. I think that's the very start of your entrepreneur journey.
For
Talk
sure.
about that, because I think that's super fascinating. And
Yeah.
what a first business to start. So we'll go into that.
So never make a promise out loud to your wife.
Okay.
Ever. Like that's just a dangerous thing.
Out loud is the key term there?
Yeah, I think so. Out
Yeah.
loud, or maybe for sure don't write it. But so I had a lot of family in Texas, and my wife's Canadian, and we both just love the mountains. I mean, we always felt at home in Colorado. And so when we got married, I, made the stupid comment, "Oh, we'll never move to Texas ever. Like I would never want to move to Texas." And she's like, "Oh, good, because I don't either." And then like 6 months later, I was like, hey, I think we should move to Texas. And she's like, "Oh man, I really don't want to, but like, okay, like there's some good places in Texas, like DFW or Austin." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's kind of like that." And she's like, "Well, where are we moving?" And I'm like, "Well, I think we should move to Midland, Texas." And for those of you that don't know where it is, I mean, it's like the face of the moon. It's in the middle of the desert. There's not a lot of infrastructure. The quality of life is not that great. It's got the most amazing human beings in the world. It's probably the greatest place to do business in the US. And it's the biggest oil and gas play in North America. And so I had this very naive idea that I wanted to move out there and start an oil business. And I knew nothing about oil. So when you don't know anything, that's kind of the best position to be in, because everybody would have told me, you can't do that. It's impossible. So anyways, I had kind of said, "Hey, hon, like we'll never move to Texas." And then just said, "Hey, I think we should think and pray over opportunities." And I think for us, this is like the American success story. We were both really driven, and we were both broke, and we both had jobs in Fort Collins, and the quality of life was amazing, right? We were biking everywhere, and there's so many breweries. We had great friends, but we were just like, "Hey, we want to do big things." And at that point in time, as 2010, we're like, there's just not enough going on here. Like we need to move somewhere else. Where's the biggest opportunity set in the US? And Boomtown, USA was Midland, Texas. So we prayed over it, and she was like, "You know what? Let's make it happen. We don't have any kids. We don't have any debt. We're broke, but let's take a risk." And it was one of the single most pivotal decisions for us. And really like accelerated all the businesses we own and our business acumen and just understanding kind of.
Were you putting
the
everything on the line?
Yeah. I mean, we went out there, dude, we had like nothing. We had like car debt and zero. And so we moved out there, and Midland was a weird town then because you couldn't even find an apartment. So it's a God connection, but the district attorney from Midland was connected to somebody I knew in Fort Collins, and he had just retired. And I was like, "Hey, Al, like I got to find an apartment and I can't find anything." And he's like, "Well, let me make some phone calls." So he's like, "Hey, there's this apartment. It's super expensive, but this is it. You need to take it." I'm like, "Done. I'll take it." And I didn't even look at it. So I moved down there like 3 months before my wife, and the apartment was disgusting.
No way.
I mean, it was, and I think we were paying like almost $3,000 a month, like a lot of money. And we didn't have any money, right? We were both broke. And so it smelled just like cat pee, and it was so dirty. And the property manager was like, "We don't care. Either take it or we've got 10 other people that will take it." So I'm like, "I'll take it." And so I conned my brother Marcus, who's my business partner. I was like, "Dude, I need some help. We need to move into this thing, but we have to clean this thing up." So we spent like hours like vacuuming and like wet vacuuming the carpet. So anyways, that was the introduction to Midland. But we kind of were just like, "Hey, let's move out there and take all of our capital and throw it into this thing." Like as we grew our capital stack and as we started saving money, like let's just throw everything into real estate, oil and gas assets and business. And honestly, God blessed us, and we had some great mentors out there, and so we were able to do some pretty fun things.
We'd like to take a quick break and thank our sponsors.
Pioneer Rodeo.
The Pioneer Rodeo is back August 15th through the 17th at Norris Penrose Event Center with 2 nights of rodeo and wild demolition derby finales.
Tickets go on sale June 1st. Details at pioneerrodeo.com.
Bolton Co. Executive Coaching.
Up feels better than stuck. You know that. But in this market, how do you get unstuck and get ahead as an executive?
Our guy JB is an executive coach at Bolton Co. Coaching, where he believes you don't have to change who you are. You just need an injection of effectiveness and a proven competitive edge roadmap for your way up. Head to boltonco.net. That's boltonco.net. ProLift Garage Doors. ProLift Garage Doors are your locally owned and operated residential and commercial garage door experts. From fast repairs and smooth replacements to routine tune-ups, they keep your doors running like new.
Go with the pros at ProLift Garage Doors.
Visit proliftdoors.com to learn more. Be Our Guest Getaways. Be Our Guest Getaways specializes in Disney cruise resort and theme park vacations.
Planning a Disney vacation can be stressful. Let Be Our Guest Getaways provide you with concierge-level service for free.
Learn more at beourguestgetaways.com. That's beourguestgetaways.com.
Planet Duct. Planet Duct is the #1 choice for professional air duct cleaning in Colorado Springs and Southern Colorado. With state-of-the-art equipment and top-tier service, they make sure the air in your home or business is clean and allergen-free. Breathe easier with Planet Duct. Learn more at planetduct.com.
Awesome Home Services. Awesome Home Services delivers top-notch HVAC solutions for your home. Whether you need heating, cooling, or system maintenance, they ensure your comfort year-round. Visit awesomeservice.com for your HVAC needs. That's awesomeservice.com.
Proud American Electrical and Solar.
Give Proud American Electrical and Solar a call today for all your electrical and solar needs. They are locally owned and operated business right here in Colorado Springs. If you're looking for information on solar, this is the company you will want to call. Check out their website at proudamericansolar.com. Use promo code COSBusiness for a 5% discount today.
Pinnacle Advanced Primary Care.
Pinnacle Advanced Primary Care offers affordable, accessible healthcare with a focus on you. They provide exceptional primary care without the hassle of insurance barriers. Experience a patient-centered approach. Learn more at pinnacleapc.com.
And now let's get back to the show.
So the mentors, you think, was that a big aspect for you to understand where those deals were? Like, how did you even know how do you even know any of this? Like, did you Google it? Like,
No, man. I mean, I think it's just like we were talking about coding or AI. If you want to know something, fully immerse yourself in
for
it,
sure.
right?
Yeah.
So like actually there was a guy in Denver that was part of an oil business that's now sold in Denver. And he's like, hey, Chris, I can get you a job out here and like, you'll do great. He's like, or if you move to Midland, you'll learn 10X what you will here.
It's kind of like being in Silicon Valley if you want to learn
100%.
coding or
Yeah,
something.
that's exactly how it was. I mean, Midland just didn't have enough people. So if you were good at what you did, and if you practiced and continue to improve, and if you had integrity, it's kind of like Colorado Springs. Once people knew they could trust you, the doors were open. And so if they knew, hey, Chris is a guy that does what he says he's going to do, he does good deals, he does win-win deals, then pretty soon more doors started opening. So, I mean, I knew nothing, man. So that show Landman, that's like pretty popular now on Paramount Plus.
Okay.
That's what I started as. I started doing land work and understanding how to run title, how to buy minerals, how to buy leases, then eventually how to raise capital around that, how to build a team around that, a little bit more about the technical piece. And then in 2016, we started the first oil business with a couple partners and just kind of grew it from there. So yeah, it was wild.
What's the size of Midland? The
I
population?
would guess it's probably 100,000 people, somewhere around there.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's small. I mean, I think there's more billionaires per capita in that city than anywhere else in the U.S.
Which is nuts.
It's crazy. Yeah, I mean, at our church, we went to a pretty small church that I think there were 2 or 3 billionaires in that church. And it's a very nondescript, like they're just normal human beings
sure.
hanging out.
Earth.
Yeah, exactly. Like it was a really cool experience.
It'd
for
be
sure.
probably a comfortable place to be as a billionaire, probably.
Yeah, for sure.
Like
Yeah.
as opposed to like LA or something like that.
100%. Yeah.
I was thinking when you were talking about this, it's kind of very similar to like the John D. Rockefeller story of like, I think he was in, Ohio. He was in,
I was thinking Andrew Carnegie as well too.
Yeah, for
yeah, but he essentially put all of his money and he almost went bankrupt several times before they Vanderbilt like invested into his business and kind of
For
made
sure.
it sky. It's very similar to that story, just like on a prayer. The whole
Mhm.
family is counting on him. He's losing money, but he's just has a dream, and then boom.
For sure.
It's just the old
Yeah.
story of oil, which is such a big hallmark in our community. Oh, the U.S. story. It's
Yeah,
so
100%.
interesting. Did you ever look into that before going there, or are you just like, hey, I want to do this. This is what I want to go into. I didn't even know about John D. Rockefeller, one of the
That's what I was saying, man. I was so dumb. I was
Okay.
so naive. And I think that was a benefit to me
Mm-hmm.
because if I would have said, okay, these are the steps it takes, exactly what you guys did. All right, here are the steps it takes to be the #1 Colorado podcast. You'd be like, oh my gosh, that's going to take us so long. I don't even know if we're going to start. But if you don't know that, if you're like, let's just start doing it, right? Let's
Mhm.
just start shooting stuff on our phone, which is what Marcus told me you started. Hey, let's just start shooting this
Mhm.
podcast and get better and get a little better, get some better mics. If you don't know how hard it's going to be, you're just like, let's figure it out and get after it.
ignorance on fire, friend.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what it is,
100%,
man. It's so
100%.
true. It drives you so much, especially when you're younger and you're just
For
like,
sure.
you don't know what you don't know, but like it really just propels you forward to do so many incredible things in business because you just don't know any better.
For sure.
Mhm.
It's like the best. I love that. Like a young, ignorant person on fire who wants to. I used to have a mentor when I was younger. He's like, you need to get your PhD. I'm like, in business school, what the heck? He's
Yeah,
like, no, you
for
need to
sure.
be poor, hungry, and driven. And so
There
you
you
mentioned
go. For
two
sure.
of those
There you
when
go.
you were talking
For
about your
sure,
wife
man.
and you.
And that's the
Yeah.
other thing, man. If you're gonna be successful, you got to outwork everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what we did. Like we didn't have kids, and my wife and I worked every day and every weekend. And then when we saw oil was doing this, so if you want to learn how to take risks, be in the oil business
Mm.
because it's feast or famine. I mean, the guys that are billionaires were probably bankrupt 2 or 3 times,
Oh my
right?
gosh, yeah.
And so it goes like
Mhm.
this, right? Commodities might be $120 a barrel and then 30, and then it went negative, and that was a big lesson for us. But as we saw that commodity swing, we said, look, we want to stay involved in this industry because we love it, but we've got to start buying businesses, real estate, and other things to flatten out that swing
Mm-hmm.
because we had skills in business now, and we're like, okay, you could be the smartest businessman in the world and not time the market right in commodities and lose
Mhm.
everything. And so we said, we've got to find other ways we can leverage the skills that we've learned. And that's when we started buying businesses. We started in 2012. We bought our first business. And then we continue to buy businesses and help
Mhm.
people buy and sell businesses because we said, man, there's so much leverage when you own a business. There's so many things you can do to improve the profitability, grow it, hire the team, et cetera.
Mhm.
And oil and gas is like, you could be the smartest person and you got to have good timing. And my grandpa, who was really successful, he took a construction company public. He said, my mentors always said it was location, location, location. And he's like, now he's 95 now. He and I are really good buddies. He's like, no, I think that's kind of BS. He's like, I think it's timing, timing, time.
Interesting.
Oh, good
Yeah.
Well, that's
point.
interesting because space and time are those are two different location points,
100%.
different ways of thinking about that. So that's awesome. And it's interesting to me though, because for you, a lot of people, when they want to start a business, it's like, I want to start like a pizza restaurant or like this. You go for almost the most thing that people don't even think about when they think about starting a business. It's like one of those like, oh, only the top class can get into that. Like you just like, it's interesting how you felt like you could do it. Like what was that helped you understand that you could do it? Was it having your grandpa? Was it like what is the reason that what gave you permission, I guess, to go and seek this?
For sure. I think family's so critical, like good or bad, right? My grandpa was such a big influence and my parents too. But my parents never gave me that entrepreneurial guidance. I mean, my dad's a missionary, but he's actually very entrepreneurial in how he sees the world. But I think it was more that bullseye of what I was passionate about. Oil and gas is so fascinating to me, man. It's an industry where innovation we are the greatest innovator in the world in oil and gas.
Mm-hmm.
No one else can touch us. OPEC can't touch us. No one else. I mean, what we're doing downhole in the United States is fascinating. And
Is that like
every year
fracking and stuff?
Yeah, every piece of it, the drilling, the completion. Now we're using AI for how we're doing everything.
yeah.
Like you and I could have a whole nother conversation about AI utility and oil and
yeah.
gas. It's fascinating.
Wow.
But I was like, I'm passionate about this. It's something that is the source of humans flourishing. And that's one of so we still have an oil company that I'm a partner in with a bunch of amazing human beings based out of Austin. But our mission is help humans flourish.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how do you do that? They need reliable energy.
Yeah.
Right? They need reliable energy that's affordable.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, man, oil and gas, like the natural gas piece, we've got hundreds of years of supply. If we just say, hey, we're going to build infrastructure for natural gas, we would have the biggest boom in the US ever. So I was like, all right, I'm passionate about it. It really serves people well. And then it's something that I know can provide, right? It's something that actually, if I'm doing well at it in the marketplace, I'm going to get rewarded for it. But ultimately, I was really dumb. I had good support family-wise. My wife, like that's the other thing. If I ever say me, it's always other people, right? It's always we, the collective. Like the things I've done have always been because of my wife, my siblings, my parents, our team, the people around me. So if I ever say me, don't hear that as ego. It should be we, like the people that have helped us. So yeah, I think being naive and then saying, I'm really passionate about this. Let's go make it happen. And I think any industry is ripe for innovation.
Me too. Yeah.
Like ultimately, we have a family office, exceptional companies, and we just say we're an innovation company. Like we own 9 businesses in these industries and we help people in these ways. But ultimately, what we want to do is innovate. We want to get better every day and figure out how do we serve people in different ways. And so I think the business verticals will be consistent in some, but in others will be totally different.
So it started out with oil, but now it's bloomed into consulting and business growth and just in various industries.
Yeah. So we started oil and gas. So the 3 things we love and we're really good at are oil and gas, real estate, and business. So those were the 3 things we said, hey, we want to know how to do those. And they're all very similar. Right. So a lot of the skills you understand how to implement processes. So we always say 3 things in business you got to have right. Your profits, you got to figure out how to make money, right? And understand how to create consistent cash flow. Your people are everything, right? The right people in the right seats on the bus, and then your processes. So those were the 3 things that if you have a real estate company, you need to do those 3 things well. If you have an oil and gas company, you need to do those. If you have any sort of business, HVAC, anything, those are 3 constants that we always coach on. And so as we were buying and selling businesses, we realized that most folks, when they sell a business, were getting just not good counsel. They were getting counsel from folks that had never done it before, maybe had never owned a business. And so we said, hey, we want to build a vertical that actually is a boutique A&D advisory company that helps people sell businesses. So our clients are $500,000 to $5 million EBITDA. And the things we do really well is we take a business, and if they're like, we want to sell it today, we say, great, let's figure out a way to package it. Let's find the right buyer and the right culture fit. But the clients that we love working with are the folks that are 1 to 3 years out or 3 to 10 years out. And they say, hey, my business is worth $2 million, but I want it to be worth $10 million. How do we get there? And I'm like, that's awesome. Let's build that roadmap out and help you get there. That's a piece that we absolutely love doing. And that's what we're really focusing on in Colorado and Texas for our clients.
Is we're on the street that some of our sponsors might have just sold their companies, which is great.
Yeah,
really,
for sure.
really good. I mean, and that kind of segues into what we're talking about here. This they call it the silver tsunami, and it's talking about these baby boomers who are now kind of aging and retiring. And instead of handing down their businesses, they're just closing them down because they don't know they have an asset that they can actually sell. And so there's this market that you're talking about that a lot of people just don't understand about how many baby boomers who are business owners who retire every single day and don't realize that they can sell their business and how important that is. And so talk about that opportunity a little bit more with your business and the opportunity for so many other people to kind of get into that industry and understand what's happening to the US and maybe worldwide, really.
Yeah, for sure. So you can Google the data or ChatGPT the data on how many folks are retiring, but it will be, I believe, the greatest wealth transfer in probably the past 50 years. So people selling their businesses that are kind of baby boomer generation or younger or older, right? It doesn't have to be within that box. There's going to be this massive transfer. And these are businesses that are healthy and generating cash flow. So I wrote 2 books, and I'll give a digital copy to anybody that's interested, but I just finished Buying Main Street. It's how everyday people buy businesses. And I just talk through the logistics of, hey, there's really 2 ways to build big wealth, and that's owning real property. So real estate, water rights, oil and gas, right? That's all real property. It's all tied to the earth, or a business. Those are real. If you talk to anybody, even if they're in tech, it's, hey, they owned a business. They created some concept that went big. So we always say, hey, those are kind of your 2 big levers, and we love both of them. But we've said, hey, if you have the drive, if you like doing hard things, buying a business is by far your greatest opportunity to grow your wealth. Now, it's super, super hard. and I always say this distinction, it's actually very simple. It's just really, really hard, right?
It's like Mario.
Exactly. That's right. Exactly. Buying a business is exactly like Mario.
He's going to steal that from me now, Andrew.
Yeah. So anyway, so that as we started starting businesses and buying real estate and oil and gas, mineral rights and water rights and all these different things, we finally said, hey, where's the greatest opportunity for a person, anybody, right? Anybody, you don't have to have a huge capital stack, but you do have to have the willingness to do the hard things. And we said, buying a business is the way to do it. Starting a business, and you both have done that, super, super hard, right? You don't have cash flow, you don't have the people. And the other thing too is the US government, through the SBA and other lending programs, they want these businesses to transfer. And I do too. For the health of the US economy, I want all of these companies, could be white collar service, blue collar service, manufacturing, anything, right? Any industry. If those transfer well to the next generation that is now thinking totally different and saying, hey, we need to do the people, processes, and profits really well, but we're also going to use AI and we're going to use technology to do things that no one has ever done within this business, we could have another massive boom in the economy. And I think it's coming. And I want to be a big part of it. So I get really excited about this stuff.
It seems inevitable. Like it seems like it's only going to scale faster and faster. Like say one person buys a business from a boomer, and they are using the AI tools, like you said, they can replace 5 other people that needed to buy those 5 other businesses that wouldn't have or didn't, or just because their lack of ambition. I don't know. Like, I also do know that there is a bias between every generation thinks the younger generation is not as ambitious as them or not as hardworking as them. When I think it's actually the opposite. I think it actually every generation only increases with time, because there was some kind of article that I was or some kind of snippets of articles where it was like from the 1920s, oh, this younger generation doesn't know hard work. Oh, and then almost every decade there was the same article.
For sure.
And like I feel like we make like there is that scare and that feeling of that. I think me, at least as an early 30-year-old, like you kind of like, is the younger generation going to make it? Are they going to be good? And I think we can trust the younger generation. Like they're probably not only going to make it, they're going to innovate and make things even better. Like, I don't know why I went off on a tangent there, but
I love it, man. And I think it's like every generation is so different. Right? It's a different season and flavor.
Yeah.
What I believe is the United States is the greatest country in the world by far.
Oh yeah.
And why is that? Because we're innovators.
Yeah.
So whenever there's hard times, we say, let's buckle down and create a solution to this problem,
Totally.
right? And right now we've got some pretty big problems that we're facing as a country. And I'm like, I'm not concerned about it because there's so many brilliant people that care, that are like, hey, our grid is going down. Well, all right, we got a huge grid issue. Well, let's start working on that. Let's fix it, right? Like there's all these big problems. And I think there's this young generation that's waiting for somebody to tap them on the shoulder and say, all right, guys, it's your turn. Let's make it happen. The problem is that tap on the shoulder never happens. It's our turn right now.
Yeah.
So any younger person listening to this podcast, get after it, right? Get unstuck. I mean, the thing that I've been preaching is like, we got to get off the sidelines, right? Our mission is to activate and equip others to live exceptional lives. Whatever your view of an exceptional life is, go after it and get it. Because in the United States, we have such a huge advantage and blessing. You can go make that happen. I'm one of the dumbest people I've ever met, and we've done all kinds of cool stuff. So,
How do you help somebody who's not had any level of experience and they're just wanting to get started? They say they're in their early 20s. They're like, I love everything that Chris is saying.
For sure.
I don't have a lot of experience. Maybe I don't have a lot of wisdom yet. And I want to get started with what you're doing, and I want to start acquiring businesses. They might not have the acumen just yet, but they just want to get started and they want to be around the fire. What would you say to someone like that?
I think what we talked about, do deep research. So the 2 books I wrote, Selling Main Street and Buying Main Street, those are primers. And that's what I tell people. This is a book you read on an airplane. This is something to get you excited about it and give you a bunch of tools. We give a ton of tools away free in the book. So we can link the books in the show notes, but start with the primer. And by the end of the book, you're either going to be like, I'm fired up.
Yeah.
Like this is like something that's really getting me jacked up and I'm excited, right? And then it's like, start doing the deep research. So we coach sell side folks. If somebody says, hey, Chris, I'm ready to sell my business or consider selling my business, we can absolutely help them. But one of the huge advantages is we coach a lot of buyers because we want to have this this pipeline of folks that we know are qualified, they've got capital, they have the skills, and we've been coaching them for 2 or 3 years, and marry them with the good culture fit of a seller that's like, I'm ready to sell. And this is the avatar of the buyer that I want to sell to. And we're like, sweet, we've got 4 or 5 folks in our database that we've been helping. So I would say like start at a high level and then just start digging into it more and more and more. So we coach some buyers right now and they're like, where do I start? What industry? I'm like, go just get on Google, right? And Google businesses for sale and then build a little spreadsheet and look at every business in the nation, right? And say, hey, this is either attractive or repellent to me, right? It's magnetizing me away or to or from it, right? And then swedge that down. And then as you do that, you're going to start feeling, okay, like I don't want to buy in liquor stores, but I do want to buy this store, or I want to buy this, or I'm really excited about owning a restaurant. I don't ever recommend starting a restaurant, but if you're excited about it, great. But as you refine that, and that's how we kind of built all of our processes. We said, let's go build this thing in the jungle. And then we're going to build a process around it and give it to people for free. So that's how I would start.
Love it. They're like hacking like all the ignorance tax that you paid to do what you built,
100%.
Which is great. Now, when we were researching you, there's a phrase that kind of got brought up, and I want to bring it up to you to define for us. And it's capitalist missionary.
For sure.
What does that mean to you?
Yeah. So I believe, once again, all of this is my belief, right? This is not investment advice. This is not me telling you should do something, but I believe we're created to serve, right? In some form or fashion, everyone, like you guys are serving your community so well through this podcast. So kudos, like I'm so impressed by you guys. But all of us, whether we're in business or not, right? Whether we're a stay-at-home mom or a teacher, any of those categories, you're serving, right? And so when the church does not know what to do with business people, and they're getting better at it. But my dad was a missionary doctor, right? So back in the 90s, it was kind of like, you're either a pastor or a missionary, or you're kind of a second-class Christian citizen. And that's not what they meant to say, but that's kind of how it was felt. So I always felt like I didn't have a place in the world because I was like, man, I know I want to serve people and I have a passion for helping people. And I know God created all of us to do big things, but I love business and I'm good at business. And so my wife and I started kind of thinking through like, well, we don't believe God created us with unique abilities so we could be really sad all the time. Man, we wish he would have created us to be a pastor or missionary or whatever, right? The thing that seems like it's really cool. And so we said, well, what are we? We're capitalist missionaries. What does that mean? We serve people in the marketplace, right? And we make money doing it. And we take that money and we expand God's kingdom and we try to serve our community, our clients, and our team. So that's kind of where it came. It was just a phrase that if somebody's kind of trying to understand, and also it's kind of a phrase that makes you be like, oh, what does that mean, right? Because we want people to know, hey, when we build these businesses, it's not about expanding our wealth, right? That's a byproduct of doing business really well and serving people well. But we want to be focused on expanding the whole pie, right? So that's where that
because
came from.
good businesses, they provide value to the world,
100%.
and like that's just only a good thing. I get to use a trash bag. I was just thinking about this earlier. It's a plastic thing that I get to use because some business made it. I was just having a thought about like just all the things. I was leaving my room and walking out of my house, and I was just walking past all these amenities and all these small little things that we don't even think about and take for granted. But it's because of those businesses providing value that allow us to have all these great gifts, all these blessings in our life. Like it's so amazing. Like just to even think about, that's why I said the trash bag thing, because I think that was the most overlooked thing this morning when I was thinking about it. I was like, wow, this thing literally just a thin piece of plastic that allows me to take my trash outside easily instead of having it be everywhere.
And that's, for us, that's the most interesting thing is all these businesses we get to look at and help. There might be a business that's making 20 million in revenue selling trash bags. Yeah. And you're like, wow, that's incredible. Oh, yeah. Like, how did you do that? Exactly. Like, how did you figure out how to make trash bags, sell them to that many people? Like, and it's all across the board, right? Every time we get a look at a business, we're like, it's like a science experiment, right? I get bored really easily, probably like you. I could tell by your personality.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm always like, all right, what's next? What's next? But in business, there's always something that you're like, wow, we could learn that. We could take that from this business and actually use it in our business over here. Yeah. And the people just are phenomenal, man. Like people that start businesses, ultimately, like most of them are really good humans that are trying to serve their clients and their family really well.
Yeah, well, most of them start with a problem, right? They're just trying to serve people by solving that problem, whatever it might be. Like a trash bag solved a problem, right? Like all these things solved a problem. And you're just talking about like blue ocean opportunities like everywhere they can find. I had a friend who just started a turf company here and made
Love it.
$10 million in
Oh,
6 months.
Mm.
He's gonna come on the show
I was
actually
about
a
to
little
say,
bit
where's
later
he
this
at?
month. He's coming on the show
100%,
actually
man.
this month or next month. But like, talk about. I mean, like that's insane to me. And it's just like the opportunities are everywhere. But
Yep.
before we kind of go off tangent here, I want to talk a little bit more about what you were talking about before. You were talking about people, profits, and process. I think people could kind of identify profits. They kind of understand what that is. Even maybe people, great character who want to build something special. But talk about process because
sure.
I think that's a big hang up in a lot of entrepreneurs because they can kind of get the first two things kind of working, but like the last piece is really what gets the whole thing humming and really scaling. So talk
For
a little
sure.
bit more about that and like what you help businesses implement in their business. Cause I think it's very interesting because we brought up that same process before on the show before.
But
Yeah.
by process, do you mean like being able to step out of your business because you have processes?
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So we always say if you have amazing people, you can have a profitable business, right? Because they're going to carry you. Like the people are going to make sure that nothing breaks and nothing falls through the cracks. If you pair amazing people with amazing processes, that's when you have an apple, right? That's when you can literally build anything that you think about. So the process piece of it, if you want to be excellent at your craft, if you want to serve your clients really well, but you don't have processes in place, you will not serve your clients well, right? You will for a while, but then eventually there's going to be something that falls through the cracks. And so when we started businesses, the first one we started, we're like, this was so dang hard, but we had built all these processes from scratch. We're like, we have to do this again just to get enough value out of how much hard work it was. So eventually, though, there's a system called EOS, the Entrepreneurial Operating System. And this is like kind of like the book. This is a primer to get you into systems and processes for business. It's the most widely used operating system in the US, maybe in the world. And we've used it since 2016. So we always tell people, hey, if you don't have a system, start here. Use EOS. And there's a lot of gaps in that system. And we've created our own system called Exceptional Systems, which everything is branded exceptional, which people get annoyed by, but that's okay. It was my brainchild, so I got to do what I wanted to do. But anyways, start with EOS. And then as you see the gaps in there, then you can start sliding in the different things. So for example, hiring. Hiring is so critical. And we say like, you've got to have an incredible hiring process that's hiring based off your culture, but also has a process to make sure that you're vetting people. Because people, and this is not a slight against people, but people have gotten really good at salesmanship in the interview process. And I've interviewed hundreds of people and hired, dozens, if not hundreds. And even me, I'll get through it and be like, this is the right person and that blah, blah, blah. And then our process of the interviewing is like, all right, we're going to do another one. We're going to do interview with other people that aren't me. And we're going to do personality assessments. And then we get more data, and that data may say, hey, yeah, that's great. That's the right person. Or that data may say, hey, we should ask some different questions because the data is saying there's something off here. And so that process hopefully should help you serve your team better because you're not hiring people and putting them in a wrong spot, but also serve your clients well because you're getting the right people on your bus that really want to serve and love on your clients. So the processes piece is so important. And really that's, if we think about building enterprise value, if you're like, I want to go from 2 million to 10 million or 20 or 30 million, EOS or your systems is how you do that. That's the blueprint for how you do that. So we literally map out a 3-year plan or a 5-year plan. We say, this is how you take it from here to there. And now we're going to do our 90-day rock setting and build our scorecards and implement our systems and digitize them. And that's when AI gets really cool.
I was just thinking about AI when you were saying all this.
Because as you're building these processes, so I have a very different view on AI. I'm only using AI to allow me to hang out with humans more.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes.
So I don't
do
want,
more.
Exactly.
Do more work too.
I don't want AI ever to be a barrier or I'm trying to say, hey, I'm only going to use AI so I don't have to have employees. That's not what we're doing at all. However, if there's a friction point for our clients and I'm like, they don't even see this, but it's annoying and it's taking our time to do this thing that's important to them, and AI or technology can do that, that's when using EOS, you're going to see that and be like, oh my gosh, this CRM can now do this thing that used to take our admin 20 hours a week. And now like the example of what you used to prep for this interview was incredible.
Yeah.
Like there, so anyways.
And what you were just saying, like having that capability for the CRM to do whatever, I could literally vibe code that in a few hours.
For sure.
And just a few months ago, I couldn't. It would take me several days, several
100%.
weeks, but now I could vibe code it in a few hours. It's insane. I was vibe coding earlier. I had this task where it was saying it was going to take 7 weeks to do. I was like, based off of what I've been working on with you, I think we can finish this real quick in like an hour or two, and finished it in an hour or two.
Yeah.
It was crazy. We're going to take a quick break to thank our sponsors.
Reveal Med Spa.
Look and feel your best at Reveal Med Spas. With personalized plans that deliver real results, radiant skin, restored confidence, and natural rejuvenation.
At Reveal Med Spa, we see you. More than just aesthetic and wellness treatments, we provide a safe, judgment-free space where you feel valued, heard, and supported.
Visit revealmedspas.com.
I think it is literally just that too. We'll just double check. Book your next session at revealmedspas.com. That's revealmedspas.com.
Home Day. Buying a home shouldn't be overwhelming. Home Day empowers you to save on your mortgage by putting you in control of the process. Lower your cost and take the next step towards home ownership with ease. Visit gethomeday.com today.
Fast Signs. From banners to vehicle wraps, Fast Signs delivers custom visual solutions to help your business stand out. Their team ensures your message is clear, bold, and effective. Get your signage needed handled at fastsigns.com. That's fastsigns.com. Epic Eyewear. Stylish, affordable, and designed for adventure, Epic Eyewear has the sunglass and eyewear you need to see life more clearly. From the mountains to the beach, protect your eyes with high-quality frames and lenses. Check out their collection at epiceyewear.com. And by the way, Andrew, we do have a special discount, COSBP15, for 15% off, I believe.
Cars Helping Charities. Turn your unused cars into a meaningful contribution with Cars Helping Charities. They make it easy to donate your vehicle to support local causes. One of the local charities that we like to support on behalf of Cars Helping Charities, actually, and part of their sponsorship is Mattersville. And check them out too.
They're awesome. They are a tiny house community for veterans suffering with PTSD. They have a property out in Yoder, Colorado, and then they also have one in Sedalia, Colorado as well.
Donate today and make a difference. Visit carshelpingcharities.org. That's carshelpingcharities.org.
Dream Accounting Solutions.
Take the stress out of managing your books with Dream Accounting Solutions. They provide reliable expert accounting services tailored to small businesses. Simplify your finances at dreamaccountingsolutions.com. That's dreamaccountingsolutions.com.
Exponential Impact. Exponential Impact is driving innovation and entrepreneurial success in Colorado Springs. Supporting startups with mentorship, funding, and community resources, they help businesses grow and thrive. Learn more about their impact at exponentialimpact.com. That's exponentialimpact.com.
And now let's get back to the show.
So there's a term that's become very important in our business, and a guy named Rob Thompson introduced me to kind of the nuance of it, but it's called the OODA loop. So it's observe, orient, decide, act. Okay, so the military uses it. Basically, how you beat your competitors is you act quicker than them, and then you continue to iterate.
That sounds like Elon Musk is my favorite quote from him, where he says, patents are for the weak, just innovate faster than everyone else.
100%. And that's what AI is allowing us to do. So when anybody comes to me and they're like, hey, we have this problem, exactly what you said, it's going to take us a week to solve it. I'm like, all right, what if it would have to take us an hour?
Exactly. Yeah.
Or 10 minutes? Like, how would we do that? And then all of a sudden we're like, well, there's actually this AI plugin that goes over here that, well, holy cow, that thing actually will do it. So using that OODA loop in business is how you win. Is taking that problem and saying, we're just going to iterate on it 20 times by the time my competitor has done it one time. Right. Yeah. And that's what we've done in our business. We're like, there's no sacred cows, right? If there's something we're like, this is a problem, we're like, well, let's go test it 20 times. And then we'll figure out what the best thing is that is going to solve it. So yeah, absolutely. It's exciting. Man,
it is exciting.
Like business is going to be incredible over the next decade. It's going to be totally fascinating.
I mean, it's just so incredible. Like we're talking about with like the show notes. Andrew actually showed me the first iteration of that because he provided something that was visually appealing for me to kind of look at a dosage level an hour before the show started. And I'm like, man, like I just remember things so much better. It's out there like that. And then I sent to you for iteration, be like, hey, here's some show notes that AI helped pull together about you. Is it all true? Is there any mistakes?
That's a good idea,
And he's like, dude, this is incredible.
Nice.
For sure. And
he's good at the communication thing. I can do the developing stuff.
But you guys just solved a problem that my prep is like an hour to an hour and a half for my podcast, right? And I'm thinking through like, all right, who's this human being? And I've got
you want to make sure it's good. Yeah,
exactly. That AI app did a better job than I do.
Exactly.
I mean, that's the reality. Like it did a way better job. The questions were better. It had more prep. It had scraped a bunch of stuff online that most people don't even know about us that are really interesting, useful things. So, I mean, you just saved me dozens of hours.
It's so crazy. In fact, to scrape something, and we've been talking a lot, recently, but like a fact I never even knew about you, but it's just a fun fact for our audience to hear about is this Hillside, Colorado
Hillside, Colorado, baby.
Hillside.
Talk about
That's
that,
right.
because I think it's pretty cool thing that you did. And I know you talked about like what your wife thought of it, which is really funny, but I want you to talk a little bit about that. I think it's just a great, like, fun thing that you've done in your life that many people are like, what? You can do that? So talk
Yeah,
about
for
that.
sure. So we bought a town, and it sounds really exciting, right? You're like, oh my gosh, that's incredible. It's not that exciting.
Mhm.
We bought a huge problem that is kind of what we like to do, right?
Mhm.
We're like, hey, let's throw ourselves in the biggest problem and make sure that we are going to survive somehow. So I'm from Westcliff, which we were talking about. Hillside is 10 miles north of Westcliff.
Okay.
And so this town has been around forever. Back in the 1800s, they had like a post office and a general store, and there used to be a mine called the Rosita Mine up there. Anyways, tons of history. And as a kid, we would put up a bunch of hay on the ranch, and I would always drive the 4-wheeler over there to get Mountain Dews. And that was the deal. It was like I could go over there, get a Mountain Dew.
The actual dew off the mountain, or
No, like the
just
Mountain Dew
kidding.
to drink.
Okay.
Yeah, this was July, so it's monsoon season. But so I'd go over there and I'd get a Mountain Dew, and they had a post office and general store, and it was, anyways. So it had like this connection to me as a kid and my family. And then one day in 2015, I was driving around, and I'm just a guy that, like, I'll go for a drive and be like, wow, that's a cool property, or that's a cool business, or wonder what's going on here. And I saw a for sale sign, and I was like, what? Like, what's going on? So I called my wife. I talked to the realtor, and it was like, there's a town for sale. We have to do this. And my wife's like, I don't know about all that. Like, she's a really strategic thinker, right? So I'm just like, we'll make it work, right? We'll figure it out. And she's like, no, let's actually have a plan behind this. So anyway, so we bought this town, and our vision, everything we do, and I hope most business owners, is to bring more life and joy to the thing that we're doing, right? So if we buy a business, our goal is that our employees that were with the previous employer make more money, have more opportunities, right? Our clients are taken care of even better. We make more money so we can bless the community. And this town had just kind of shut down. So all the buildings were falling apart. And we were just like, man, we really think we could take this thing and bring back joy to this town. And my wife is so she's a business financial advisor. She's brilliant, but she's also undergrad interior design. So she sees 3-dimensionally.
Okay,
I
yeah,
don't.
yeah.
Like, I'll walk into a space and be like, I don't understand how they did this. I'm just kind of like this space.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
this is so beautiful. How did they do this? She literally will walk into a property and there could be no buildings, and she'll see 3-dimensionally, hey, it'd be really cool if we did this over here and did that.
Cool.
And so when we walked this property, I mean, literally, like, there was rat's nests in these old, like, cabins.
By
and
property,
stuff.
you mean the whole town?
Yeah, the town.
Okay.
So it was 9.5 acres and just had a bunch of falling apart buildings.
Okay.
And so, anyways, long story short, we bought it, renovated every building, basically brought it back to kind of its old glory years. And a lot of these buildings were built in the 1800s, were old mine shacks, and so it had amazing, like, wood floors.
That would
and
just be
beams.
fun to explore. You
Yeah,
know?
it was cool. Although it wasn't fun because I was like, I'm gonna do the demo on some of these. And literally, like, in the drywall, there was rat's nest, and it was just like so disgusting. So that was one of the kind of bigger projects we took on. And I had somebody ask me a question last night because they're like, so you guys own all these businesses. Did you ever get scared? And I was like, every single time. And this was like, we bought this town, and it was just my wife and I. And we were like working W-2s, and we had some other real estate stuff going on, and we were pouring every dime back into this thing.
Man.
And we didn't know we were going to try to do vacation rentals and a wedding venue and do all these things. But, like, we're trying to renovate all this stuff while building the brand and the website. And we're like, what if no one comes? Because this is a pretty rural area. And I was having, like, panic attacks because I was like, man, we've thrown all of our money into this thing. We've mortgaged the thing. Like, if this doesn't work, we're going to be in a really bad spot. And I think that's the spot to be in as an entrepreneur, where for me, it was like a faith thing. I was like, all right, I have zero control here. I'm going to trust that this is going to work out. And then we're just going to hammer. We're going to do everything we can on a daily basis to make this thing successful. So it's been awesome.
Yeah.
And now we've owned it almost 10 years. Like, it's crazy.
I think they call it the point of no return.
For sure.
For entrepreneurs. Like, you're a wantrepreneur until you get to that point of no return, and then you're an entrepreneur.
100%.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
also,
for sure.
editors note, make sure to make part of the hook, so we bought a town. Look that up.
That's perfect. Well, you mentioned a lot throughout this whole interview, and I think it's something that's instilled into who you are. I mean, when you look into your eyes, you can see it in your soul, but faith in the way you operate life, the way you operate your businesses, it's obviously a big part of who you are. Talk about, like, faith-based leadership and how you run your businesses, because I think it's super important to who Chris really is.
For sure, man. So I think the thesis is, once again, my belief, God created us all to be creators. And I think in
Mhm.
this world, a lot of people are taking signs from society, whether it be school, parents unintentionally, our friends, and all of those signs are saying, shrink down your creative energy, shrink down the magic.
Mhm.
And that's God's
Mhm.
saying, heck no.
It
He's
almost
like,
gets beaten out of you. as a
yeah,
kid,
he's
yeah.
like, I gave you all, like literally as much as you want. This is what I created you to do. And so we're on this huge, passionate, like almost a rampage, especially for young people to say, look, if you love being a W-2 and you're passionate about it and you're doing the right thing, awesome. Like keep doing that thing. But if you've got that thing inside you that's saying, there's something bigger out there for me, you've got to go figure that out. Because the reason we have so many issues in the world is people aren't putting their creative energy out into the world. There's a thing that somebody didn't do in Colorado Springs today that should have been done that's a detriment to our town.
Mhm.
Because somebody told that person, no, take the safe bet. Don't do that. You might lose. You shouldn't do that. Don't pursue your passion. It's, blah, blah, blah. I'm opposed to that 100%.
Me too.
We like, I believe there's a great God out there that wants amazing things for us and wants us to put all that creative energy out there. And it's all different. Like every one of us is different. There's no same human being on this planet or ever will be. And if that single person doesn't put the thing out there, like imagine if Steve Jobs or Elon Musk had just said, you know what? I'm going to get a job.
Mhm.
I think I should just get a job and I'll just be like a good engineer at PayPal
Mhm.
instead of like, well, I don't know what I'm going to build, but like, we're going to like launch rockets. Like what a ridiculous thing to say. Right. But he's just like, hey, I've got this creative energy. I'm going to make it happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, faith is everything for us, man. And I think as a business person, the number one thing is you got to be really good at business. Like that's the first thing. Like don't put a Jesus sticker on your vans or whatever and try to get business that way. Like be really good at business. Take care of your team really well. Take care of your community really well. Take
Mhm.
care of your clients. And if you do something wrong, be like, we screwed up. That's not how we do business. And I'm sorry we did it that way, and take ownership. That is a better reflection of God than saying things, right? So
Mhm.
anyways, and we screw up.
Yeah.
Like, let me say for the first person on the show, like we do a lot of things we shouldn't be doing, but as soon as we do it, we're the first to take accountability, say, hey, we didn't mean to
Mhm.
screw that up. We shouldn't do that. And it's not going to happen again.
That's
yeah,
how you learn. You
for
know?
sure.
And,
100%.
and you were thinking, imagine Steve Jobs. I was just thinking that along that same vein a couple months ago was like, imagine without the Aaron Uten of Colorado
Mhm.
Springs, we wouldn't have Coati. We
Mhm.
wouldn't have
100%.
so many restaurants downtown without his spirit in Pick Latin, like
Yeah.
all these restaurants here in town without him. Like when he came on the episode, it actually I had that similar thought,
Mhm.
with the Steve Jobs stuff, but here just in town, like without him, we wouldn't have these things.
Yep.
Like if he didn't decide that he wanted to take that risk to make Coati happen, like we just wouldn't have it.
And it's
Like,
like
we just wouldn't have it.
you talked about time and space, right? Human beings are the only organism that can literally take a flat piece of dirt and have an idea in our head, like
Mhm.
Quaddy, be like, man, wouldn't it be cool if we put all these restaurants together and we had,
Yeah.
all this stuff and this and that and it's community.
Mhm.
And they take a flat piece of ground and they can build that
Mhm.
community.
I would say
Right.
ants might do something similar, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there you go. Ants and us. Ants and humans.
Yeah.
Bees. Bees
And
too.
bees. That's right.
That's so true, man. It's such a big part of like our spirit, right? Of like
Mhm.
creating things and just being.
Yeah.
What do you think it is about like, specifically Americans
Hmm.
and innovation? What is it about us? I mean, people have different explanations for it. It's like, hey, we're built on the backs of like pioneers who
Mhm.
came to this country with nothing and settled this country and like fought in the Revolutionary War against the British, totalitarianism for everything, or
For sure.
what do you think? What is it about the United States that makes innovation so mission critical to so many young people to build things, to spend 20, 30 years
Mhm.
of their arguably the best years of their lives to sacrifice to build something truly special?
Yeah, I think that's an awesome question. There's a really good book that talks about kind of macroeconomics, the accidental superpower. It talks about the US. So we had a lot of good things going for us, right? Big country. We had, oceans around us, like a lot of protection. So it was harder to go to war
Mhm.
that allowed us to do innovation. But also, man, our founding fathers, the Constitution, like our country was founded off of freedom, right? Like if I don't do something that's detrimental to you, I can go build whatever I want to build. And a lot of countries are not that way, right?
Mhm.
So we always say like power in the hands of the people. That's the US. Most countries are power in the hands of the government. And the US is trending that way, which is not a good thing. If you can give money and energy to you guys, hey, go build whatever you want, you're going to go do it.
Yeah, and give it to us.
100%. That's right. But if you give the government and you're like, hey, here's money, they're going to say, sweet, we're going to spend that money and we need more money. And we're like, well, what did you innovate? What did you build? It's like, well, we kind of just spend it on stuff. So I think like power in the hands of the people. And then the other thing too is like, this is a country built off of immigrants, right? So
Mhm.
like we're German descent.
Mhm.
And my grandpa was dirt poor farmer in Indiana, dairy farmer with nothing. I mean, literally nothing. When he was a kid, I think he was 9 and his brother was 11. I told you the story. Like he got run over by a tractor, or sorry, his dad got run over by a tractor and they had to run the dairy farm when they were 9 and 11. And there wasn't like oh, well, we'll figure it out. It was like, no, we have to do this because we
Mhm.
need food on the table. And so we have so many people in the US and that are still coming here, right? The thing that I always talk about in Midland, like the donut stores, it's a reflection of our country. Donut shops in Midland mint money, and they're all owned by immigrants. And I'm like, this guy who owned like 5 donut stores, he used to always be in the Rolex store, which is in the bottom floor of the office building we used to be in Midland. And I'm like, look at this guy.
Wow.
He moved, first generation, he moved from, I can't remember where, from whatever country it was. And he was like, you know what? I'm just going to go to the worst city in the US from the quality of life that's dusty. And I'm going to start slinging donuts. And now he's a multi-million.
Mhm.
And so I think like the US attracts these people that just say, I want something bigger and I'm willing to go build that thing.
Mhm.
And I think, so
And
anyways,
then they have kids, and then they pass on those
100%.
genes, those
for sure.
go get 'em genes, I guess you could say.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just like you guys are entrepreneurs, and you mentioned your mom just being this amazing
Oh yeah.
mentor and entrepreneur. And I think that's just now encoded in the DNA of United States folks. And
Mhm.
when Trump got elected, you could be on either side. I don't really care, but there were so many people that were like, we're moving. And it was the same way with when Biden got elected
Right.
and Obama.
They're all steam though.
Yeah, they're all like, we're going to move to Canada or whatever, Puerto
Actually
Rico.
do it then.
And that's what I said. I'm like, hey, if you believe there's another
Mhm.
country
That's
that's
what I would
better
do,
for you,
yeah.
you should move.
Totally.
Or
And
another
you
state.
should say that's my new country.
or
Another state.
state.
100%. 100%. Yep.
And it just gets me so fired up. But you're so true. And it's so funny how it's embedded in us because you're talking about like people like my mom. Like
Mhm.
one of the reasons why I attribute any of my success is like no matter what it was, she always believed in me. Like to have
100%. somebody
somebody that's so important in your life always believe in you means so much, especially when we all go out on the limb and the bank account's negative
For sure.
and you don't know what to do next
Mhm.
and you just feel so isolated. To have a sounding board like that
Mhm.
is like the best form of mentorship ever.
Mhm.
For you, and specifically like with your kids now that you have kids,
Mhm.
what are you teaching them to kind of, they don't necessarily have to be entrepreneurs, but
Mhm.
you kind of have this theme around this episode of creators,
Mhm.
to create
For sure.
them as future creators in this
100%.
society. What are you doing for them? Similar to maybe what my mom did, or even just your own flavor of that. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So we're at this point in the ages, we have a 9, a 7, and a 5. We're pretty much anti-screen. So I want
Mhm.
our kids outside creating like we grew up. Right. And I think, I'm not sure if college is going to be around when my kids are college age.
Yeah.
Right. It may just be like, hey, you need to be really good at utilizing AI.
Yeah, or the
right?
AI teaches you whatever skill you need, and you don't need the
100%.
college because
So-
the AI will.
The traditional path, I'm kind of throwing it out. But what I can teach them is number one, hopefully to have a love for faith and family, right?
Mhm.
Like, hey, here is who we are as a family. And this is the rhetoric we use in our family. We are a family who does these things, and we are a family who does not do these things, right? We're not a family who lies, right? And sometimes it happens, but hey, this is not something we do. We are a family who does what we say we're going to do.
Mhm.
And so we start using this language and then put them in situations where they have to problem solve, right? So like we just got dirt bikes as a great example. Our kids love everything outside, riding horses, fishing, dirt bikes. But I'm not the guy that's like, hey, dad, my fishing line's tangled up. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, well, figure it out. Like
Mhm.
I'm here. If it's like something that you absolutely can't solve, then I'll help you.
Mhm.
But generally kids will be like, I can't do this. I can't do this. And you're like,
Mhm.
okay, well, like take 10 minutes and do the thing. And if you still can't do it, come back and we'll work on it. And then in 2 minutes, they've got their fishing line untangled and they're fishing again.
Mm.
And so same thing
It's
with the dirt
critical
bikes.
thinking skills.
100%.
that
Problem
builds.
solving, right?
Mhm.
And that's the same thing with AI.
Mhm.
AI won't do anything without you doing it. So if you give it a
Mhm.
bad, like, hey, this is
prompt.
what I need you to problem solve,
Yeah.
but you don't give it the right definition around it, it's not going to do a good job. And ultimately, you're the person that has to be the creative act to
Mhm.
use this tool, because AI is a tool. It's an amazing tool to do that. So yeah, man, I think for us, it's putting our kids in situations to have to create, and then more and more and more. And my mentor Dave Kunert, who's just an amazing guy, he said the freedom V, and this is kind of my philosophy for raising kids. So as your kids get older, you need to move them up into the V to have more freedom, right? Most parents don't do that. They're actually like, we give our kids way too much freedom, and now they're teenagers and they're lashing out and they're doing all these bad things. We got to, shrink it down. But as your kids get older, you should be allowing them, in a way that's not going to hurt them,
Mhm.
to test more things out. Hey, go test
That
this
seems
thing out.
natural too.
Yeah, 100%. And so by the time they get to whatever the age is, it could be 18, 21, whatever,
Mhm.
they have the freedom and the autonomy to say, all right, I have my core values. I know who I am as a human being, and I know how to create, and I know how I should do that
Mhm.
thing. And you're still there. It's not like you just jump out as a parent, but hopefully they're kind of further along the path. So
I
Yeah.
think
So, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that I feel like the pain threshold for a lot of parents, and maybe
Mhm.
they might do some pushback with what you just said of,
for sure,
and I agree with you, by the way, because I'm the same way. I'm like
Yeah.
problem solvers, problem solvers, problem solvers.
100%.
But I think a lot of hesitancy from parents is that they're afraid of their kids getting hurt, whatever freedom
Mhm.
that is. Like maybe it's
sure.
like, hey, you could take the car out. You got your license now. You're 16 years old.
Mhm.
You can stay out to 10 o'clock at night now. And, from school ending at 2 to 10 o'clock at night, there's that anxiety from a parent. And
Mhm.
so how do you in your own mind, as your kids get a little bit older, because I know they're not quite 16 yet, but they're
For
getting
sure.
there. They're getting
Yep.
there. Like, how do you feel like you're going to be able to handle those situations of now they're able to drive a vehicle around or whatever it might be? Like, is there any hesitations there? Or are you kind of like, when I get to that bridge, I'll cross it in the way that I feel like it's best?
I think kids are kind of like a business. Like, control is an illusion. I mean, 100%. Like, we're going to do the people, the processes, the profits, and some crazy thing could happen that wipes us out, right? 100%. Now, we should control the controllables, but having control over your
Mhm.
kids is a total illusion. You can do all
Mm.
the right things, and then your kids make bad decisions and have to reap the
Mhm.
consequences of that. So I think, like you said, it's really just saying, okay, what are our thresholds for what's kind of like a business, asymmetric risk? We want a lot of upside with our kids, right? Where they're learning things, but they also don't get really, really hurt. But maybe they could get a little hurt, right?
Mhm.
Being hurt is not a bad thing. It's just, I don't want my kids to get hurt to the point of no return, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
dirt
yeah.
bikes is a great example. Dirt bikes are really freaking dangerous,
Yeah.
really dangerous. Anybody that's driven motocross has a broken leg, a broken shoulder, a
Yeah.
broken back, all the things. And so my mom's really opposed to this. Hopefully she doesn't listen to the podcast, but she hated it. I mean, literally, we bought 5 dirt bikes and we're like, all right, we're going to go do this thing.
Yeah, but that teaches them.
It
like,
teaches
to,
them.
To
But I also didn't
explore
say
and
like,
take
all right,
risks.
son, hop on this dirt bike,
Yeah.
go crazy, ride it down the neighborhood. First, we started like, there's a motor cycle safety course that I went through twice when I was riding back in the day. And I was like, okay, here are the things that they taught me. We're going to do fast stops, slow stops. We're going to do figure eights. We're going to do all these things. We're going to talk about,
Yeah, learn it really.
like really understand that thing. And then we took them out to a spot that there's no one around, and I didn't show them how to shift into multiple gears.
You didn't show them.
No. I
Oh,
was
you
like,
wanted them to figure it out.
just first gear. I was
That's
like, all
awesome.
right, like let's
ruin
just
the
let
bike
them.
while you're at
Let's
it.
just run. Well, honestly, man, like Honda 50 cc's is what my first kid started on. Those things are almost undestructible.
Okay, there you
Like,
go.
they
Yeah,
really
nice.
are. Like, but I was like, okay, if I show him how to shift into third, fourth, like he could really hurt himself. Like he could get going 50 miles per hour and hurt
Oh,
himself.
gotcha.
So I'm like,
gotcha.
let's start in first gear. I won't even show him how to shift. And then as they're getting, right, I'm moving him up in the Freedom V. Now I'm like, okay, he knows how to start, stop. He's turning well. He's being responsible. That's the other thing. If a kid is showing like, hey, I'm too immature to be in this situation, you as a parent need to be like, whoop, let's stop, right?
For sure, yeah.
Like, you're not in a position where you should be, let's
You're
stop.
supposed to protect them,
100%. But then we're moving him up in the Freedom V. Now my son is like third gear, fourth gear, and
Okay.
right, we're driving faster. And like he's laid the bike down a couple times at slower speeds. And so I think it's really that
Mhm.
illusion of control. And for me, when you have your first kid, this is probably every parent's experience. You put them down in the crib and you're like, what if this happens? What if that happens? What if the blanket goes over their head? What if they can't breathe? What if they can't do this? What if they can't that? And literally all those things could happen.
Mm-hmm.
And you can drive yourself crazy, just like with a business or any experience, right? You can go down every negative pathway possible, or you can say, hey, I'm just going to trust. I'm going to trust God, and I'm going to do everything I possibly can to put this thing in the right direction. And then we're going to just move forward with it.
Mm.
So kids are that it's
Yeah,
a conundrum, man, because you obviously love them so much, and like you really can't control them fully.
Yeah. So editor's note, make sure to cut kids are like running a business, piss off any anti-capitalists, and then we can make that as a clip. That's a clip right there.
And what a great answer, by the way. Very, very good answer. And I mean, it's so true. Like I love the parallels that you made to business with your kids. And I think it makes a lot of sense that like, there's always going to be unforeseen things that happen just in life, right?
For sure.
With your life.
Mhm.
And we were mentioning this on my episode with you, but the phrase of there's power in proximity. And
Mhm.
you've mentioned a lot of people in your life, specifically your wife,
Mhm.
your siblings, your grandfather, your father, even your mother. You just mentioned her not too long ago.
Oh, for sure.
Talk about that inner orbit of Chris.
For sure.
Who's allowed in there? What do you give them access to?
Mhm.
And how they help you in your personal life and your career?
Yep. So all the big problems we build a tool around. So we built this tool called the Tribe Tracker. So, I mean, everybody said it, right? There's so many great books written about like you are the people you hang around.
Mm-hmm.
You hang out with deadbeats that do drugs. After a period of time, you're probably going to be that person. You hang out with overweight people, you're probably eventually going to gain some weight. You hang out with fit people, you probably be like, I should probably start working out. What are you doing? Well, I'm eating right and I'm drinking water and I'm doing okay, great. Same thing with business, right? So we said that's such an important thing. It shouldn't just be a loosely held thing that we're kind of like thinking about. It should be on a piece of paper, right? It should be in a tool. And so for me personally, what I do is, Jesus had 12 disciples, and then he had kind of concentric rings, kind of like you said, like a tree. And so every year I look at the inner circle, and there's people that will always be in it, right? Your family will always be in it, but maybe in varying degrees, right? And then I look at that circle and I say, who are the people that I want to serve, I want to influence, right? And who are the people that I want to influence me? And then I build that out. And I think the thing that is tough is people are like seasons, right? They come and go. And as humans, we don't want to do that. It feels really crummy,
Mm-hmm.
right? To say, hey, this person is not really kind of influential in my life anymore. Or maybe I've outgrown them. But that's just the reality of life. Some people come in your life for 2 years and may be the most important, influential people in your life. Some people maybe a month, some people 20 years. But curating that experience, I think, is one of the things that really successful people do. If you hang out with really successful people, you're like, wow, that's your best friend? Well, that person's amazing. Your wife, wow, she's amazing. Your kids, they're great people, right? So I think that's how we've just said anything that's a recurring theme, we want to measure it. And so for me, I'm always measuring that and saying, hey, this is a person that maybe did some things that they can still kind of be in the perimeter, but we're not going to do business with them. My wife and I have both had some partners that weren't great partners in business. And that's the best way to learn how to set up a partnership, right? Is you see all the things that you're like, man, this was not what I wanted. This is not how I wanted to be treated.
Mm-hmm.
And then you start painting the picture, like what would be the great partner, right? What would be the great partner and co-host for this podcast? Well, it looked like this, and he brings these skills and I do these things.
For sure.
So I think like for young people, I'm always like, and for our kids, I bring kids and business back into it, but like we fire our kids' friends. So our kids sometimes,
So they're literally like a business.
yeah. I mean, if your kid is hanging out with somebody that you're like, whoa, this kid is not a kid
Absolutely,
that
yeah.
I want my kid to
Mhm.
look like in 10 years, then you should say, hey, wonderful kid, just maybe not a fit for our family and our style. So we're not going to spend a lot of time with them. And you can kind of explain it, right? Hey,
Mhm.
this is the family who we are. We do these things. This kid is doing some of these things. Once again, that's their family's thing.
For sure, yeah.
We don't want to judge them, but that's not what we do. And so I think inviting the right people into your kids' lives and in your family's lives is so important because they're going to influence you. So absolutely, man. That's a great question.
It's very important to protect that.
100%.
Oh, for sure. I mean, we can go on and on about partners and things like that. I definitely have a lot to say about that. But I want to get on this because I want to narrow in a little bit more on what you're talking about. But I want to know who are the one or two most influential people in Chris's life.
So my wife and my siblings we're business partners and everything. And
You
those
said
are
8 siblings, right?
7 siblings.
7 siblings.
Yeah. 7 boys and 1 girl. So like them, and I mean, my family for sure. So if we just group kind of everybody, and then, man, I've said it, like I've had amazing mentors and continue to have amazing mentors. And I've also had kind of 3 or 4 friends that I call them the friends that if you're in a Mexican jail,
Mhm.
you just call them and you're like, hey, I need you to come get me. And
Sounds
they're
like that was happened to you in Chihuahua.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And they're like, they don't say, I'm not sure how to do that or whatever. They're just like, all right, I'll be there as quick as I can. We're going to bust you out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got some really great friends that we've done things together. The other thing, like a mental model that we've used that served us really well is if we believe there's a friendship blossoming, like your and I relationship, like I can tell there's something really big. I'm like, we want to do great things for Colorado Springs, right?
Mhm.
There's something here. We always try to do a project together. So if somebody's like, oh man, this guy's incredible, I'm like, hey, let's go build something. It could just be like, hey, let's build something digital, or let's do a podcast together, or we started a mastermind with some guys. All right, let's go do this thing. But I like to build a relationship as we're building something, because very quickly you can see, are we in alignment or not? Because a lot of people talk the talk and are like, I want to be a business owner. I want to do this great thing. And then you're like, okay, here's the hard work. I'm doing it. And I want to invite you into that hard work. And then in 2 weeks, you're like, hey, where'd that person go? And then 3 months, you're like, they're not even here anymore. So I love that concept of kind of testing relationships by building something. Now, once again, asymmetric risk. Don't say, hey, let's go sign a loan together, right? Go do something together that's not going to like create a bunch of downside risk, but give you a bunch of upside. So for sure.
Great answer for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's kind of interesting because we've kind of witnessed like the trajectory of Chris throughout this whole interview of like Chihuahua, Mexico, no running water,
running water,
wood
man.
stove or whatever kind of stove
sure.
you guys had. There's a lot of humility in some of your childhood that was probably brought to your career and your business career. I think that's so important, man, to be worldly like that, especially when you jump into the business world, because it gives you that humility when you are talking to different people and you're interacting people with different backgrounds. Talk about, I mean, you've talked a little bit about it, but obviously it's had a huge impact on your life and how you handle people. I see you when you interact with people. I've introduced you to a couple of people now, and I've seen you talk and interact with other people. You really love people and getting to know them, and like you have really good questions right out of the get. You love interacting and getting to know. Where does that come from? Does that come from way back then and having that humility and kind of experiencing life and people from different backgrounds? Where does that come from with you?
I just think people are fascinating, man. Honestly, like I think if you go, like we went to an event at the rodeo last night, and it's like we met this couple that has this
The Pioneer Rodeo?
No, it's
Pikes Peak?
Pikes Peak.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because Pioneer Rodeo is our sponsor.
Yeah.
Shout out to
yeah.
them. Check them
And
out.
we're actually gonna we're gonna work with those guys too. Jay Dial. Do you
Oh,
know
yep,
him?
yeah, Jay Dow.
for
Yep.
sure. He's
Shout
awesome.
out to Jay Dow.
Yeah, 100%. But anyways, we're at this event and there was a couple at our table and they had started this dance studio. And I was just like, this is so fascinating. How do you even start it? How do you do it? What do you do? What do you charge? What are your clients? And I don't know, man. I just think people are so fascinating. And growing up in Mexico, man, like it was super. We basically grew up kind of like in the 1800s. We didn't have running water. Like our house didn't have any insulation. Our house had a tar paper roof.
It was like Nacho Libre.
It was, dude, that's our favorite movie. Literally, we watched that this week with the kids. 100%. That's like kind of how we grew up. Even those bikes where it's like,
Yeah.
those were
That
so
was it?
funny.
Okay.
That's how we grew up. But I think when you grow up that way, like you have so much gratitude and an understanding of what's important and what's not. Money's not important, guys. It's a tool, just like AI, right? Money's just a cool lever. And it's an outcome of you doing life really well and serving people really well, but it's not something
Or
you should
getting
pursue.
lucky, you know.
Yeah, 100%, or getting lucky. But I think like you see the people, you see that a human being in Chihuahua, Mexico, the Tarahumara Indians that literally have nothing that my dad was serving are the same. They're genetically encoded with the same greatness that is encoded with anybody in the United States, right? And so I think understanding people's stories and just being curious. I'm just curious. I just literally love people. I could go anywhere and just sit down and be like, hey, so tell me your story. And they're like, well, this, that. And I'm like, oh, what? That's crazy. How did that happen? You know? So anyways, yeah.
That's great. That's awesome, man. And then my final question to you before we start wrapping this up is you've been in many places. I mean, through Texas to Colorado, probably other places as well.
Morocco.
Yeah. Chihuahua. Why Colorado Springs for Chris and his family? Why this city specifically? Why did you choose Colorado Springs?
So I think it goes back to what you said earlier, which is if you don't like where you are,
Mm-hmm.
go where you want to be,
Mm-hmm.
right? 100%. Like, so 7 years ago, we started crafting this vivid vision, and it was kind of God thing, but the exceptional life concept, which is kind of the core of all of our businesses. We're like, well, what does that mean for us? What does an
The ELC?
exceptional life mean? What's that?
ELC,
What's ELC?
exceptional life concept.
I love it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dub it.
Cool. But yeah, like that concept of we only get one shot at this, right? All of us get one shot at life. And we should not ever be living out a life that's not in congruence with what we want and what we should have. We shouldn't live the life our parents want us to. We shouldn't live the life our employer wants us to. The pastor wants us to, any people of influence. And so when my wife and I started really dialing that in, and we built the tool around it called the Clarity tool that helps people understand that, we said, like, if we could map it out, and this is what I help business owners do too, map out exactly what you want out of life. And then we're going to build a plan to go get it. And so we looked at the entire US and we're like, hey, if we could live anywhere in the United States, right? We're mountain people. We're not really coastal people. So Idaho's really cool, and Washington's really cool, and Montana's really cool. And so we started thinking about all these places. We're like, all right. And then we kept coming back to Colorado. We're like, let's not check Colorado because that's kind of where we're from. Let's look at every place else and just make sure that this isn't a bias. And then we came back to Colorado and we're like, no, this is the greatest state in the United States, I believe. And then we started looking at Denver, and we lived in Fort Collins for 10 years. We're like, okay, what about North? And we're like, no, this is not a fit for us.
Mm-hmm.
And
Too many
then
mosquitoes.
yeah, that's right. Then we started looking at Colorado Springs, and we had not spent any time in Colorado Springs. And we said, okay, like, what are the things that are important to us? Colorado Springs is a really patriotic, pro-US city.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 100% an American. I think it's the greatest country in the world. I'm pro-business, right? I'm pro-family. I'm pro-faith. Like, I'm like, hey, these are the things that are in the fabric of this town.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just said, this is now our city. This is where we want to raise our kids. This is where we want to raise our grandkids. This is where we want to build our businesses. We are choosing home, and this is our home. And that's what I would encourage everybody. If Springs is not that for you, you should go find that.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's somewhere else, like, come to Springs. Yeah. If you're a young entrepreneur, like, this is an amazing place to live in so many different ways. But build that matrix and then go find that place that's home.
And if you're in the Springs, you don't like it, there's always Austin. There's always a bunch of other places.
That's right.
Too.
100%. There's flavors. There's a different flavor for whatever you're looking for. For us, this is home, man. We love it here.
That's awesome, man. Well, it said that was my last question, but you keep spurring good questions for me to throw at you. A final question here, because you keep bringing her up, your wife, your confidant, your business partner. What does she mean to you?
Say that differently. Like, what do you mean by that?
Your wife as a business partner, as your lover, the wife of your kid, or the mother of your kids, your wife. What does she mean to you in the aspect of everything that you're trying to do?
I think choosing your spouse is the most important decision you can make, right? Like, friendship first. Our relationship was built off of, we were best friends for 2 years before we started dating. And this is a great story, but so she was dating somebody else and was getting serious about him. And when I know what I want, I go after it, right? So we're having lunch, and she's like, well, you know, so-and-so, this dumb guy, whatever his name was, Tim or Tom or whatever. I think he might propose to me. And what do you think about that? And I was like, you should break up with him and date me. Okay. And I kind of said it like, I was super serious, but I kind of said it flippantly, because that was like what my heart was saying, is like, hey, this is the person I need to be with. And then like 2 days later, she's like, yeah, I broke up with him. And I was like, oh no, this is so much pressure.
Yeah,
but anyways,
serious now.
she's everything, man. And finding the right spouse, right? Like, I'm really blessed because most people don't get to do business with their spouse and their siblings and do it well. Like, we have a blast. We have really hard days. We had a really hard day today, but we get to do the fun things and create together. And I don't like to silo my life. So I didn't want to do all these fun things outside of my relationship with my wife and then come home and have this relationship. We get to do it all together. So I think I'm trying to tear down silos and have her be a part of every single thing. So I don't know if that answers the question or not.
No, it's great.
It's great answer.
That's awesome. Again, a matrix for what you wanted out of life. You chose the person who was able to fit into that,
100%.
which is insane, because there's not many people out there who want to go run a business with their husband. I mean, if they do, that is super challenging, right?
For
One
sure.
of the rules of business sometimes is don't do business with family. But if
Mhm.
you can figure it out and you guys are aligned, it works. And if
For
it
sure.
works, one of the most beautiful things can come out of it. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Imagine doing business with people you can trust implicitly, right? Your
Mhm.
family, if it's the right family and the right integrity,
Mhm.
I never have to worry about anything that they're doing in the business. I know they're going to do it differently than me, right? But they're going to do it the best way they think possible with integrity. And so I'm
Mhm.
not worried about it. If they make a decision that I'm like, that's interesting. That's not how I would have done it. I'm like, well, they did it the best that they possibly could have. So
Mhm.
yeah,
But
man,
that
it's
trust is there though.
100% the
It's
trust.
important.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because Dane Cook trusted his brother and he stole all of his fortune, unfortunately.
Yeah, for sure. But if
Yeah.
Dane Cook, if you asked him today, he'd probably be like, there were some signs.
Yeah,
I probably
exactly.
shouldn't have trusted my brother.
Yeah, he
with all
probably,
my
yeah,
fortune.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, dude,
That's
this has
awesome.
been amazing. Thanks so much for sharing so much wisdom and just stories with us. I mean, about your family. What an incredible journey. I mean, to have a grandfather who was in the construction industry who helped mentor you along with your father with the missionary side of things. It's just such a cool recipe to create someone like you who leads with both those things in your life. And it makes sense to me why you are the way that you are with the people who helped you along the way. So again, thank you so much for coming on, Chris. This is your camera. Where can we find you?
Yeah. So you can find us at excoadvisors.com or Chris at Exco Advisors. My cell phone's 970-219-3295. Man, any place you want to reach us, if we can serve, we'd love to serve. Guys, I'm humbled by you letting me come on. This
That's
has been so much fun.
XCO?
EXCOadvisors.com.
EXCO. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Sweet.
for sure.
Got to say that because, people don't, I would have
That's right.
spelled X,
Yeah, I probably misspelled.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And the AI that helps make me make the descriptions would have misspelled that too. So clarify that. What was
100%.
you said there was a link to something earlier. I'm trying to.
Yeah, if you want, I'll send digital copies
To
of
your
both
book,
books.
yes.
Yep,
What's
100%.
do you know if there's like some kind of searchable?
So you can buy it on Amazon, but I'll send a copy for a free digital
Okay.
Kindle link. So
It's free digital. Oh,
yeah,
sweet.
100%.
Yeah, send
Yeah,
that.
for
and
sure.
we'll link that in the
Yeah,
description
100%
so
for
everyone
both
watching.
books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
for
that'd
sure.
be great.
If you'd like to get his book, check out the show notes below, and don't forget to leave a comment if you like this episode or like the episode if you like the episode. And this has been the COS Business Podcast, and we'll see you guys on the next one.